Hey everyone, we'd love to hear from you. What tool review would you like us to create an in-depth analysis video on? Drop your suggestions in the comments below, and we will get started on making the most requested one. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, as we upload new topic podcasts every day.
You sent over some information about this tool called Hunch.
Yeah.
And we took a look and definitely thought it was interesting enough to kind of dig into a little bit deeper.
Absolutely.
So the goal with this deep dive is to really try to extract the most important insights from all this material that you gave us.
Right.
And help us understand what Hunch is really all about and whether it might actually change the game when it comes to how we approach, productivity and decision-making, all those good things.
I think the thing that immediately stood out to me about Hunch is that it's an AI-driven platform.
Right.
And it is sort of trying to bridge the gap between making decisions, based on our gut and on intuition and actually making data-driven decisions.
Right.
So taking all this raw information that's out there, all this data, and making it into something that is actionable.
Right.
Something we can use to, make things happen, really be more efficient.
Yeah.
So that was really appealing to me.
And you sent over this great review that goes through a lot of the details about Hunch. So maybe let's just start with the basics. Like, what is Hunch? If you were explaining it to somebody who had never heard of it, over coffee, what would you say?
I would say, so you know how you have all these different tools that you use to do your work.
Right.
You have maybe a spreadsheet over here and you're using, 5 different apps to manage all your stuff. Well, Hunch kind of wants to be that central hub for you.
Okay.
And it does that by using artificial intelligence.
Oh,
so it's kind of like having a really, really smart digital assistant, a team of them in the background that are helping you out with making decisions, with being more productive, and really just making things easier.
So it's more than just crunching numbers.
Yeah.
And it's actually trying to guide you to smarter decisions or...
It's like you feed it all the data and then it helps you see the trends that maybe you wouldn't have seen, predict what might happen next, and help guide you toward the right decisions, the smarter actions.
Okay.
So it really is about... streamlining. The review talks about streamlining workflows, boosting your efficiency, unlocking your potential.
Right.
It really is about working smarter, not harder.
And in terms of who is this for? Is it for a specific type of business or industry, or is it?
Yeah, what's really interesting is that it seems to be, they're marketing it as something that's applicable across a lot of different industries.
Okay.
So specifically, I think the review mentioned marketing operations,
right,
which makes sense because those areas are so driven by data and process.
Absolutely.
But, I think it's safe to say that any field that deals with, a lot of data and needs to make really informed decisions could probably benefit.
Right.
And the way they talk about it, it's, they're really leaning into this. It's a partner in success, which I think is really interesting. That it's not just a tool. It's like an active participant in, making you successful.
So this AI sidekick that can be in all sorts of different fields.
Right.
What are some of the concrete benefits?
Yeah.
What were some of the things that jumped out at you as advantages of using Hunch from the review?
I think right off the bat, the review mentions that it's really simple and user-friendly.
Okay.
Which is huge because so many of these really powerful AI tools can be intimidating and complex. So a good interface, really lowers that barrier to entry for everybody on the team.
Sure.
So that's one of the big ones. And then, it comes back to this idea that it takes raw data and it makes it into something that's actionable, which that's the key, right? It doesn't matter how much data you have if you can't understand it or do anything with it.
Right.
So that's one of the core benefits here. And then they mentioned that, it's customizable for different industries. So it seems like there's a level of flexibility.
Right.
And then of course, there's the overall boost in productivity and efficiency, which is, kind of a no-brainer. And it's designed to scale as your business grows, which is also really important.
Yeah. I mean, nobody wants to buy a solution that they're going to outgrow in 6 months.
Right, exactly. You don't want to be limited.
You want something that's going to work with you as you get bigger.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So those are some of the big advantages.
Those all sound really promising, but of course, every tool has its limitations.
Right.
What about some of the drawbacks? Did the review mention any potential downsides of Hunch?
It did, which is great because it's good to have a balanced perspective.
Yeah.
So one of the things they mention is that while the interface is, designed to be user-friendly for basic tasks, if you really want to master some of the more advanced features, it's probably going to take a little bit of time and effort to really get the hang of it.
That makes sense.
Which, that's fair, right? Any sophisticated platform is going to have a little bit of a learning curve.
Right.
But that is something to keep in mind.
Okay.
And then probably the biggest thing for a lot of people is going to be cost.
Right.
It can be a significant investment, especially for smaller businesses. The review actually mentioned the starting price.
Yeah, and we'll get into the specifics in a moment.
Okay.
But yeah, that is always going to be a factor for most people.
Absolutely.
How much does this thing cost?
Right.
So we'll look at that.
And then, just some other kind of more practical things.
Yeah.
The review mentioned that you need a stable internet connection, which, that's pretty standard these days for cloud-based stuff. But Still something to be aware of.
Right.
There was a note about limited compatibility with some other tools.
Oh.
It didn't specify which ones, so that would be something to
something to look into.
To look into further.
Right.
And then the last thing was that for individuals or teams with really, really basic needs, Hunch might actually be a little bit too much, overwhelming.
Right.
So it seems like it's really geared towards people who are dealing with more complex
stuff.
Yeah, workflows and data. So.
Okay, yeah, that's a good overview of who this is for and kind of what the pros and cons are. You mentioned the price. Let's talk about that because the review did say there's a starting price. So what is that?
It starts at 2,500 euros per month.
Okay.
And for that...
So not cheap.
No.
Especially if you're smaller business or startup.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a significant investment. But for that, you get 3 custom image templates and 2 video templates. Yeah. And those are designed by, their in-house experts. Okay. So it seems like a big part of that.
So it sounds like at least the starting package is really focused on giving people kind of this professionally.
Yeah, and the content creation.
Design content.
Especially for marketing campaigns, I think.
Got it.
So
if you're not doing a lot of like marketing and content creation, maybe that's not the right package for you.
Exactly. You might want to look at some of the other options.
Right.
But yeah, so that's the starting point.
Okay.
And they do mention that they offer a pilot period.
Okay.
So you can actually
you can try before you buy, basically.
You can test it out, see if it really meets your needs and justifies that cost.
Right.
And they also mentioned that they have annual subscriptions, which, usually those come with a bit of a discount compared to paying month to month.
Sure, yeah.
So that's something to consider.
Absolutely. Okay, and what about if somebody has really specific needs, like they're a larger business or they need something kind of unusual? Is there?
Yeah, it sounds like they offer custom quotes.
Okay, so they're willing to work with you to kind of tailor something that's going to fit what you need.
Exactly.
Okay.
So they really are trying to be flexible and cater to businesses that have, unique requirements and make sure that the pricing aligns with the specific value that they're getting.
So it's not that it can
scale.
Just a one-size-fits-all
in
terms of how much you pay.
It's not a one-size-fits-all approach at all.
Got it. Okay, so now let's talk about what actually powers Hunch.
Okay.
What are the key features that make this AI-driven platform work?
The review, they kept referring to Hunch as an AI-first workspace.
Okay.
And I think that really kind of captures the essence of it because it's been designed
right.
from the ground up to leverage AI, to make you more productive.
Right.
And it does that by integrating all these top-tier AI models into one place.
Okay, so what does that actually look like? What are the features that a user would interact with?
Yep. So one of the really, I think, cool features is called the visual canvas.
Okay.
And imagine, it's basically a digital whiteboard.
Okay.
And you can arrange and connect these different blocks. And these blocks represent, different AI-powered tasks. And the idea is you can create these really complex workflows just by dragging and dropping, connecting these blocks.
But no coding involved.
No coding required.
Okay, that's interesting.
So it's a very visual and intuitive way to
So even if you're not
design AI-driven processes.
A coder, even if you don't have a background in AI, you could still create these
that's exactly
pretty sophisticated automated processes.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Wow, okay.
And then to make it even easier, they have a feature called Auto AI.
Okay.
And this feature actually automatically selects what it thinks is the best AI model for whatever task you're trying to accomplish with that block.
Got it.
So you don't need to be...
So you don't have to be an expert on all the different nuances of AI.
Exactly. It just handles all of that.
Yeah, let the system figure it out.
For you, it's designed for high performance.
Right.
Without... the user needing to have that deep technical knowledge.
That makes a lot of sense. And in terms of the kinds of AI that it can handle, is it just focused on one type of task or can it do a lot of different things?
No, it can do a lot of different things.
Okay.
So the AI model variety is another key feature here.
Okay.
So they basically give you access to leading AI models from, companies like OpenAI, Anthropic, Google.
Got it.
So, the big players, which means...
So we do a lot of stuff.
You can do a lot of different things. Text generation, analysis, code writing, image and video analysis. That's the vision aspect.
Right.
Speech tasks. So transcription, potentially voice generation. Mm-hmm. So it's a pretty comprehensive AI toolkit all in one place.
So it's like this big AI Swiss Army knife.
It is.
Okay.
It is. And then, for teams, they have collaboration tools. Okay. So, the idea is that you can share the workflows that you create as either, reusable tools for specific tasks or as templates that can be adapted for different projects.
Yeah.
So it really facilitates that kind of seamless...
Right. So everybody's working off the same kind of playbook.
And you can standardize efficient and effective processes. So
yeah. And again, all of this is on that code-free interface.
Right. Exactly.
So really trying to making it
accessible to as many people as possible.
Regardless
of their technical skills.
Yeah, so making powerful AI accessible.
Yeah.
And collaborative for teams. And we've seen just this huge explosion of AI tools.
Right.
So what makes Hunch